Welcome back to It's Not Just a Tuesday, the podcast where we talk about work and life and the stories that connect all of us. I am so happy to have what I just found out is a longtime listener, and good friend and just amazing woman, Maggie Varney, with me today to share a little bit about her story and her mission, and just some inspiration, I think, with all of us. So, Maggie, thank you for being with me today, and I'm looking forward to people learning more about you and me learning more about you.
Well, thank you, Andrea. It's an honor and privilege to be a part of your podcast. As you said, I have been a listener. And when I heard about that you were now doing this, I went back and listened to all your previous ones as well because I found them to be, number one, so informative, educational, and informational, but heartwarming, and a lot of good, you know, uh, things that we can apply, not
Yeah.
only to our business, but our personal life. So thank you for your service.
That makes me so happy. That really is the entire, it's the reason I do what I do, but it's also the reason that I started the podcast, just because I really do believe that we all have these amazing stories to share. And so often, the loudest voices get the story and share them the farthest, but there's these little corners of the world that if we just shine some light, then we'll see something really amazing. So I'm really happy that you've listened, and I'm even happier that you're here now. Um, let's start with just tell us a little bit about you and your journey, and a little bit more about your organization. I'm going to let you introduce the whole thing to us.
Thank you. Well, my name is Maggie Varney, and I'm the founder and CEO of Wigs for Kids of Michigan. And I started this program 21 years ago. And I'm very proud to say that we have continued to service children all throughout the state of Michigan for the last 21 years at no charge to them and their families. We've serviced over 5,500 children. And when I started this program, it was all about putting wigs on their heads. So I need to give you the backstory of why I get the privilege of doing this.
Yes.
I'm a licensed cosmetologist and I owned a salon. I'm a national and international educator in my field and platform artist. I volunteered at my church for many years and did the hair and makeup for our minister because it was televised. And when he went through his cancer experience, he asked if there was anybody who knew how to work with wigs, and I went to the office and volunteered to help because he had been diagnosed.
Wow.
So that was how it started, and I started working with adults. So I went to the American Cancer Society, and I became a facilitator for their program and taught at hospitals for adults for 15 years before I ever started working with children.
I did not know that. Wow.
And then I had a 16-year-old walk into my class with her mother, and I thought she was there in support of her mom, but it was her that needed.
Wow.
And so that was my first experience finding out that children had cancer. And all the years that I had been doing this, I had never really experienced that. And I mean, I'd heard, but I'd never personally experienced with working with one. And when I found out that there was really nothing available, and I thought, well, I'm a hair restoration specialist. I've worked with adults for 15 years. We're just kids in big bodies.
Yeah.
I certainly can help a few kids. I mean, really, like how many could there possibly be?
Wow.
Thank God I didn't know. It's like sometimes it's good when you don't know.
Yeah. You don't know what you're jumping into.
It would have been so overwhelming because the truth is, this work is so rewarding. And I'm so grateful that I get the privilege of doing it. But it is also very emotional and it's challenging at best, because when you're an adult and you get cancer, your treatment plan is usually a year. For a child, it's a minimum of 3 to 5 years.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
The recurrence rate for children is about 75%. For adults, it's only 20%. So I don't see these kids one and done.
Yeah.
Do them over and over and over. Because their little head size changes every year.
Okay.
And also when I started, there were no wig companies that really made human hair wigs for children.
And when was it? When did you first start?
21 years ago, 2003.
Okay. That's what I
Hmm.
thought.
And there was one company, and they made synthetic wigs, but they were itchy and picky and uncomfortable, and they didn't stay on. And but thank God they had some choice. But
Right.
and I always say every kid doesn't have to have a wig, but every kid has to have a choice.
Yeah.
And I found out that insurance doesn't pay for wigs for children,
Hmm.
although for adults they'll pay a portion, but for kids they do not. So
Really?
yeah, I have two
Oh,
wig
that's
bills right now in Lansing in the House and the Senate. I've been fighting this for 12 years. I'm
great.
fighting,
Good work.
the insurance companies. They have a lot of power,
Hmm.
and so I've not been able to get the wig bills passed yet. But I'm working on it, and we've gained momentum, and we have a lot more signatures.
Okay.
And in 13 other states, they have that passed, but Michigan isn't one of them. So that's something that I said before I retire, that is my goal, is to make sure that there's a stream of revenue.
Hmm.
We're a nonprofit,
Yeah.
and anybody who has had any experience not working with, you have a lot of experience working with a lot of different ones, and you're so generous with your time and your talent, and I thank you for that. And you were so inspiring when you came in here and we had worked with you, and you were so helpful, and you were telling us all the different ones that you worked with. But the budget is so limited,
Yeah.
and the rules are so strict that, of course, the donors want it to go to the cause,
Right.
but you have to have a building to do it in, and you have to be able to pay the electricity, and so it's that constant balancing act of making sure that you're able to service your people and fulfill your mission, but also grow your program.
Yeah. Well, and
So go ahead.
I think
Sorry.
it's so important to just, the fact that, yes, you are working on a mission with kids right now, but I didn't even know the advocacy piece of what you're doing to pave the way for kids in the future. Unfortunately, more kids will need this, right? Um, I always I always say when I'm working with a nonprofit that does work like this, I always say I wish that we didn't have to have this nonprofit, and I wish that we didn't need to share these stories or do this work or give in this way, but it's we have to, right? We have to do something because there is this, and so I think that's really neat that you are kind of are working to change the system too, so that there's more support for these kids.
And awareness.
Hmm.
People like myself, even though I was in the industry, I had no idea. So we're always out there raising awareness. Every week I'm at a different school and I'm educating kids about this because these are kids right in our community.
Hmm.
And so when I started, it was all about kids with cancer, and we still work with allied hospitals to service kids with cancer, of course. And that is the majority, like over 50% of our kids.
Okay.
But then I started getting calls from U of M Burn Center and Phoenix Burn Society and dermatologists with children with alopecia. 30% of our kids have alopecia, and they suffer the same social, emotional, and psychological issues.
Yeah.
And dog bites and lupus and blood disorders and Down syndrome. And people go, well, I didn't know with Down syndrome you would lose your hair. Well, you don't from the Down syndrome, but you do from the medication you take for the Down syndrome.
Okay.
So there's just so many reasons kids lose their hair, and kid just like the rest of us though, but especially children, they just want to fit in. They
Yeah.
want a sense of belonging
Yeah.
and being accepted by their peers.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first visual sign to the outside world that they're different.
Hmm.
That's why it's so challenging for them. And once they get that wig, that gives them the confidence to go back out into society. But after working with them for a few years, they were sitting in my chair. I was listening to what they say. Kids have no filters, so they're so honest. And
Right.
that's why I love working with them.
Oh, I bet.
And they're telling me all these other issues that they had, like diet issues, eating disorders, and so all these hospitals that I had volunteered at, I went to and said, I need a pediatric oncology dietitian, but we have no money.
Hmm.
And they sent me over this gentleman who has been with us for 21 years. I
Wow.
went to another hospital and said, I need a pediatric oncology social worker. They sent me someone over. She's still on my board to this day.
That's amazing.
So, but that's because all we did is find a need and fill it.
Yeah.
And it's through the kindness, generosity, and support of our community that we've been able to do this.
Yeah.
And do our
Well,
program.
and I know when we've met and I've seen the space and just, the excitement of being able to come in, and it's a beautiful hair salon. And it's a beautiful room where the kids can come in and try things out and you know, different, trendy hairstyles and things that are going to make them feel like they can fit in. It seems like a simple thing or maybe not an important thing, but exactly to your point, I think those are the moments in life that are so difficult. And if you can do anything to ease any part of that, even just the self-esteem part of it, while they're going through something and having to be so brave, wouldn't we all want that help? Don't we
Well,
all deserve
that helps them with their healing process.
that? Mm-hmm.
It gives them hope. When
Yeah,
they look in the mirror, they see the person looking back at them as somebody they recognize.
yeah.
So, yes, it started out as a salon, but now we are a complete wellness center
Mm-hmm.
where we offer all the emotional, social, and psychological support for these families, too. I mean, even grief and loss counseling. I
Wow.
have families that have been coming to us for 3 years, and she said to me, how long can I come? And I said, until you don't need us anymore.
Oh,
But on the anniversary of their child's death, they feel safe here.
yeah, yeah,
Because I get calls, Andrea, from the hospitals, and they send kids. These kids are going home. They're at the end of their journey,
yeah.
and if they come by here and get a wig, they don't want to go home and say goodbye to their friends and family.
Mm.
And that, so if you think it's just about hair,
Mm.
it's not.
Right,
It's
right.
about so much more.
Yeah, it's about that dignity and that
Absolutely.
you're right, the hope piece of it and a place. So tell me, it's been 21 years. Do you know how many wigs have you given? How
Yeah,
many?
5,500.
Amazing. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. How many
and
people have come through? How many kids have received wigs? Because is some of those like you grow with them, right? And you help them along their journey. So is that 5,500 kids
yes,
have been able to have that
benefit from our
understanding?
program.
Wow, that's so amazing. Do you feel like people, we're in a similar community, and we know, I know that we live in a giving community, but nationally, right? This is not a problem isolated to us. Do you feel like people understand the what? I mean, nobody wants to understand this. I can't imagine it. But do you think people understand what people are going through enough to understand the need and want to give, right? You said, you're a nonprofit, and I think that's so much of the work that we do is to your point, you're trying to raise funds and you're trying to get the word out and just get awareness that it's even a need at all. What do you wish people understood, or do they?
Do you know, Andrea, I am so amazed. I am out every day in the community. I see children. I sandwich the kids in between 9 and 6. I go and do talks in the morning and I go in the evening and almost every single day of the week.
Wow.
And when I go out there, all you have to say is, by a show of hands, how many in this room have been touched directly or indirectly by cancer? And every single hand in the room usually goes up, every single hand. And every one of us has been a kid.
Yeah.
And every one of us, either we have kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're grandparents or we're parents or, right? And so we can all relate. This is very relatable. We've all been kids, we have kids, and we've all been touched by cancer. So for that reason, I think that it's so relatable that people open their hearts and wallets.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, Andrea, that our good comes from God, but through people.
Yeah.
So whoever
Totally.
needs our help walks in the door or reaches out to us, and whoever gives walks in our door or reaches out to us.
Yeah.
And we have been really blessed because most people can relate to what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I said the strange thing to me was when I first started was I did the same exact thing for adult patients for 15 years. And I had such a loving relationship with them and built such a community that when I started Wigs for Kids and we did our first fundraiser, I had 300 people standing out in the rain around the building.
Oh my,
And most of them were my previous patients and their
oh
families.
right. Wow, that's really cool.
So, when you're out there planting those seeds and you're doing good, you don't do it for that reason.
Yeah,
But somehow, we have a wonderful God that, runs our universe. And somehow, for me, that's my belief system. And that's how it works. And I remember when we first started, 560 square feet on this side of a building with no sign for 7 years. And I paid for everything myself. When we finally got a storefront, I thought, oh my God, we had arrived.
right.
We were there 2 years and I realized we grew like 72%. And I realized, oh God, we're going to need a building. And I started a capital campaign for another 7 years. So the good news is that we are debt free.
Yeah,
We've serviced everybody. And I can't be busy chasing the dollar and taking care of kids.
yeah,
So I just do my part. I show up for life.
yeah,
I do my very best. And I just like God handle the rest.
yeah.
That's just my belief system, and that works for me. I don't think, Andrea, I could do the work that I do if I didn't have that belief system because
Right.
I've lost 50 of my kids.
Mm,
And don't you know that every single one of them, I know them.
yeah.
And they left an imprint on my heart. And I care about them and their families.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I do this kind of work.
Right.
So, and the families still come and see us and come to our gala or stop by and say hi. Because I had a gentleman today who stopped in, adult patient. His wife died 13 years ago. He came in today to donate his hair and make a donation to Wigs for Kids.
Oh my gosh.
You're always talking about, Andrea, building relationships
Yeah, that's everything.
and tell your story. You were the one who really inspired me to be able to do that. Because when you came in here, when you're in business, you don't want people, you want to keep this business persona.
Mm-hmm.
And, but when you work with kids like I do and the people that I work with every day, pretty soon you realize that nothing else to me is that devastating or important.
Yep.
And I have to be able to focus on what I'm doing and
Yeah.
be present for them. And so thank you for helping me to learn to tell my story.
Wow, I mean, I'm I'm honored to know that what I do and what we've, the work that we've done together or just us knowing each other has helped because, when I feel so passionately about being able to just do what we do, like you said, right? You show up for life, your
Mhm.
life, and
Mhm.
then however that's supposed to impact the world, it does, right? And
Right.
so I do the little thing that I do, and you do the thing that you do. And, I tell people all the time, they're, oh, you work with nonprofits or you work with this. And I don't do the hard work. You're doing the hard work. You're there for these families. And it doesn't, I don't feel like that discounts, right? But I just feel like it's just this amazing circle of how when we all show up, um,
Your part.
when we share and we connect, we can help people and we can still give them hope. And it's again, I wish we didn't need to. But I see the importance of being able to help families that are struggling with something that they could never imagine. I do some work with the Rainbow Connection, and I know
Mhm.
you see a lot of their wish family. And
Mhm.
when we have those conversations and these beautiful children who go on their grand dream come true in a wig from you, and it's the whole thing. I have a son. I can't imagine. But if it happened, eh, I know that I would have the resources to support. And I feel like that is the thing that I will keep shouting anyone's story from the rooftop so that just in case there's someone who doesn't know and they get that diagnosis and they are in that moment so that they know, oh wait, I heard about Maggie's was Wigs for Kids. I think my daughter can get a wig. My son can get a wig. Oh, I've heard about this organization. I think they can help me with food, right? It's that piece that um if it, and all it takes is sharing. All it takes is having these conversations, not with, doesn't have to be on a platform. It could just be with your neighbor, or it could just be on your own email or social media. It's just I think we forget the power of connection. um, you've shared stories throughout me knowing you, and I know I've been able to hear some of the really unique stories. Is there a story that sticks out in your mind of a kid and their journey with you guys of getting a wig that you wanted, that wish more people had heard?
Well, I recently, a lady that works with me, her name is Jen, and she's been with me for 14 years. And 2 years ago, her daughter was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. And she thought she understood because she's worked this program for
Mm-hmm.
12 years, and then you become a parent of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And then she now sees it from a completely different perspective,
Wow.
obviously. And when her daughter she calls me Auntie Maggie because we're very close. And so when her daughter was diagnosed and she came to me, um, she wanted blue tips on her hair. And so her mom is like, well, I don't know. And I go, does it really matter? Let's let her have whatever she wants, right?
That
And
sounds like an anti response.
right,
I would have
exactly.
said the same
And
thing. Yeah.
of course. And she sees me do this with other kids all the
Right.
time when I talk to parents, but now she's the parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is we removed her hair and harvested and took it and had it made into a weft. And then I gave her a wig and then I put blue tips on it so that 2 days later, like when I shaved her head the same day and she got the wig with the blue tips.
Mm-hmm.
When we first came in, she tried on 17 wigs.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh, they like to. They everything from
Yeah.
Elsa to rainbow wigs to mermaid wig. I mean, they have to go the whole gamut, and they always come back to somebody that looks like
First thing that they
them.
want. Yeah.
And so after I put the wig on her head and I took her hair and she went in the hospital and she had her surgery. It was quite extensive. And when she got out of the hospital, by the time she got out, I gave her her hair hat. Where I took her hair and I made it into like a weft and I sewed it into a hat for her. So she got her own hair back.
That's
So that
incredible.
kind of proved to her that cancer couldn't take her hair away. Nothing could,
Right.
yeah,
Oh
change.
my gosh.
And so she was just new in our program, and we had this opportunity for to bring in something new in our programming with VR for kids
Okay.
because these kids spend so much time in the hospital and isolated because they can't go to school and their immune system is suppressed. So she was our first kid who got to experiment with this, and we're working with Stanford and Yale University. They picked us
Okay.
of because they want to bring it into the hospitals here in Michigan, and we have such a large demographic of kids
Amazing.
with cancer. So I said we would do a pilot. So she was like our first kid, and it made her feel so special. And she's like our poster child for that.
Right. Right.
Now the model,
Oh,
like we just really, it was so precious the way we took this unfortunate situation,
yeah.
and she was just all about it.
Right.
And so she's like a little
So
spokesperson.
did
And
she, with through the VR, was she able to do some experiences, or what do they
oh,
do?
it's wonderful what they offer. And she could take it when she was going to have her port access, which was a horrible time for her,
Interesting.
very traumatic. And she could put that on and she could use that. And she didn't even know what was going, wasn't aware of. She was playing with her virtual pet because she has a cat who was her therapy
Okay.
pet. And she couldn't be with her cat, so she had a virtual pet.
Okay.
And she could go places and see things and experience and meditation and and pain, helps
Yeah.
with pain management. And
Right.
so this is like another offering. So yes, we provide the wigs,
Yeah.
but we're always growing our program. And when this became available to us, we were so honored to be chosen for this pilot. And after the first year was so successful, they asked me to do it again because we're giving them all this feedback
Right.
and information that they need to
No,
collect
yeah,
data,
it's amazing
adjusting their programming based on the information we're giving them.
because the kids are able to tell them
Yes,
what works
yeah,
and what doesn't.
exactly. They have to. The part of being in the program is they have to give me a weekly report, and they have to tell me how many hours, what ones they watched, and how it affected them. But now the second year, I said, now I want to expand it. I want to use it with all of my kids. And I cannot tell you how beneficial this has been.
Yeah, that's
Now,
amazing.
who would think we're Wigs for Kids? Would you think that? That
No, that's why we're talking, right? I mean, what an amazing experience. And again, that I feel like that goes to like the relationships and the sharing that the organizations are reaching out to you because they know what you do and they know, they trust you to be able to make connections. I mean, that's very, very cool. I had no idea that you were doing that. I need to check that out sometime or maybe learn more. That's a really interesting.
it's really a wonderful program. We work with the national, society and kids that come in and help volunteer and work with our kids because kids really relate to kids, and we're really blessed. We have a lot of support from young people.
That's
We
amazing.
were just at an event last week with 500 young people over at the Utica school system and teaching them about Wigs for Kids. So we're always trying to do outreach.
Yeah.
So you said, how do people know about us? It's because we're always out in the community.
Yeah.
And, we're our kids. They're at schools,
Mm-hmm.
church, clubs,
Everywhere.
right?
Yeah.
So, and these are our kids. So we want to just raise awareness, and you get them involved to come in, and then they get to see these kids. And so it's been quite a journey, and we're still growing always. When you're in business, you're always growing,
Yeah.
and
It's
we're
like
very.
I think when you're living, you're always growing, right?
We should be anyway, right? We should be,
Yeah.
right? So, and it's been a journey, and there's somebody said to me once, so is this your legacy? And I said, no, my legacy would be we didn't need this place at all.
Ugh,
That would be my legacy,
right.
right?
Mhm.
Like you said earlier,
No,
yeah.
it's so bittersweet to see the work and know that it's needed. Um, but it is so cool to hear how many lives you've been able to impact and the new things that you're able to offer them. And I think when I was there last, you were talking to me about, the kids who come in for specialized manicures and things like that, because they also, people don't talk about the other things that are damaged and they lose during those processes. And it stuck with me,
Mhm.
because again, such a little thing, but if you go to school and your hands look different, or
Mhm.
you can't use nail polish because of the chemicals, or whatever that is, I think these are those little things that are just a part of lives that we have to remember. People are going through things we don't know.
Well, when you're 10 years old, and you have no eyebrows. Kids
Hmm.
can be cruel. They don't understand what's
Yeah,
going on.
big deal.
Or you have no eyelashes.
Hmm.
Um, So we teach the parents as well. We have classes with mother-daughter. We have classes where they can come in and they can learn to help their kids. And as they get older, then the kids do it too.
So cool.
We just had a makeup class last weekend. We do one a month, and the kids love those. Those are always full.
Oh, I
They
bet.
first, and they get everything that we do in class. They get to take home, so they can replicate it, and it's free. Everything is free to them, and it's at least $100 to $150 worth of product and stuff
Wow.
home. And so now, what do you do when you have a 5-year-old and an 18-year-old in the same class, makeup class?
Oh,
Because this
right.
5-year-old wanted to come to the makeup class.
That's so cute.
And she's diagnosed with cancer,
Okay.
and I said, of course, and she brought her 9-year-old sister with her. And so what we did is I got face charts, and I got makeup brushes, a whole set of makeup brushes, and I got a palette of different colors for the holidays,
Okay.
the sparkly one. Then we, I said, now I gave them makeup books, like real professional makeup books. They picked out a look that they liked.
Okay.
They got to do it on the charts,
So smart.
because sometimes you put makeup on, you think you like it, and it looks terrible.
Hmm.
Then then that teaches them this brush is what you use if you want liner. This
Yeah.
brush is what you use it, blush. And so your teacher, it was so much fun because I was like, okay, I have a 5-year-old and an 18-year-old. How am I going to keep all their attention? And
They got
and
art
you know,
project.
it was great.
Yeah.
We had such a good time. So
Perfect.
you just figure it out,
Yeah.
and they enjoy it, and we enjoy being able to support them as they go through this journey because when you look good, you just feel better.
You do
It's
feel
just the
better.
truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. So we're reaching my favorite part of the podcast. And since you've listened, you know that this is my favorite part of the podcast because I really do believe that the most important moments of our life happen when we don't even think about it, and when we're just showing up to do a Tuesday. So I would love for you to share with us your last Tuesday.
Well, every day is different around here. You can imagine.
Yep.
We do keep Tuesdays reserved for my sickest kids
Oh, wow.
because I don't like them exposed to a lot of germs.
Okay.
So, but often they're sick and they're in the hospital or they have to cancel their appointment. And that's never a problem for me. I always schedule other things in between. So this last Tuesday was a pretty busy Tuesday as usual. I'm busy all the time when I'm here. And I spoke with the academy coach at Romeo Middle School.
Okay.
They're having an event. It's called a nonprofit fair in February. And they wanted 40 nonprofits to come and set up tables. And we did this with the Fraser School System. And the kids walked through like 200 kids at a time. There's going to be 1,200 kids there that day. And they send about 200 through at a time. And they have them go to table to table. Now, their assignment is they have to bring information back about four of them.
Okay.
So at least they're going to learn something about the nonprofit
Yeah.
world. And so we were talking, she was inviting us to participate in this.
That's so
And
cool.
asking us if we knew of any other nonprofits that we would recommend that would be appropriate for the school age kids. And so we had a really nice visit, and it's going to be going on in February. So that was like for Zoom
Yeah.
to introduce ourselves, our program, and then in the afternoon we had the local Myers store. We're located in St. Clair Shores, and they're like Utica and 15. And they called a week ago and said, we would like to volunteer as a group. And I said, we're not real big, but we can take, about 5, 6 volunteers at a time if that's
Yeah.
good. Because we're so small. We won an award last year for Small But Mighty
Yes.
from Macomb County.
Uh-huh.
And I said, we have a small staff of like, 6 people.
But you are mighty over there.
Yeah, but and I said, but you're welcome to come because I can take like one person or 2 people because I'm usually with kids, but my child canceled. So I had that time open and I got to be with them. And there was actually 5 of the ladies that came in and they brought us a $10,000 check
Oh my gosh.
because their employees voted for a local charity of their choice and they chose Wigs for Kids.
Yeah.
So they wanted to come in and take a tour, which we did. And then we did a little fellowship, like, cookies and, coffee and visit to learn more about each other. But they were just amazed at everything that we offered here.
Yeah.
And they were so grateful they came in and they wanted to volunteer. So we're getting ready to have our holiday party
Mhm.
December 1st for the kids and families. It's not a fundraiser, it's just for the kids.
Yeah.
And so I needed to put gift bags together. So I had $200 Meyer gift certificates. I sent 2 of them out to get what we didn't have, more things that we needed to add. And the other one stayed here, and we went through the boxes and we were putting together hats and scarves and gloves and blankets and, socks and then toys and games. And it keeps their little hands busy and a lot of comfort items, but some fun items too, and gift cards so they can go to Tropical Smoothie or Smoothie King or something a little healthier.
Yeah.
So we fellowshiped. They were here for at least like over 2 hours because I always block out a 2-hour block of time for each child. So I had that time open and I just had a nice visit with them. And that was such a beautiful surprise. And I'm glad and very grateful to our
Yeah.
community. And I didn't even know.
Right. And what a great opportunity that, that they they must have known
Yes,
their work.
they brought the check.
And probably even, they didn't even know as much as they got to learn by coming
Mhm.
when they chose you. And I think, I think that's such a perfect example of the Tuesday, I mean, things change and maybe the schedule changes, but you're spending your day just living out that mission. In
Absolutely.
big ways or small ways, you're connecting with people, you're seeing where you can go, and share more and have, high schoolers learn or middle schoolers learn. And you're opening your doors so that people can come in and give back, I mean, that's really cool. That's, I'm gonna look and see if you shared that stuff on social media or not yet, because those are really cool stories. I
I
think
did,
I saw the
of
check
course,
I think I saw the check presentation.
yeah. I was so surprised. I was so honored.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great nonprofits and organizations out here doing wonderful work, and
Hmm.
so when you're chosen, and not even solicited, we did not solicit them.
Right.
And I actually met this woman
Cool.
when I was at the Fraser Fair, and the Myers table was there, and I went up to her and just talked to her
Yeah.
and said, if you ever know of a child, please send them to us, and told her a little bit about our program
Wow.
and thanked them for being there. And she said that stuck with her. And so
And
you're always talking about relationships
you
and
never know what moment is gonna change, that is the perfect circle story
mhm,
of how when we just share and we just connect and we just live,
mhm,
that could mean,
mhm.
$10,000 and some volunteers for an organization that really needs it and is amazing, just from saying hi and making connection.
When I went up to speak with her, it's a volunteer not from not from her store, from another store.
Okay.
A gentleman had come and volunteered and come and helped us with our memory garden, our honor garden up front for our kids in memory of our kids to honor them. And I was thanking her and talking to her about how nice this gentleman was, and it wasn't even her store,
Right.
and
That's
so,
cool.
but I just appreciate whatever people do for us.
Yeah,
We're all connected.
we are. We are. Well, I'm so grateful that you spent some time with me and just shared a little bit more things that I didn't know about what Maggie's Wigs for Kids is doing, and really happy that other people got to meet the Maggie of Maggie's Wigs for Kids and just hear more of the passion and the journey behind, how you got here and where the organization is. I will make sure that your information and the way that people can reach out to you, is with the podcast notes, and I know you'll put that when you share, because you guys, you take donations, you take hair donations. It's a great opportunity if you're when you take hair donations from around the world, I think.
We had 16,404 hair donations last year from 69 countries
Amazing. Yeah.
around the world.
So, if you are anywhere listening to this and you want to be an impact, you can donate. But our Michigan families, if you know someone who's going through something,
Yeah.
this is, that's that phone call to make. That's you just have to reach out. And, Maggie, you are showing us that there's people there in those worst moments, and I'm grateful that you are doing that work that we wish didn't need to be done.
I just want to say one more thing, if
Yeah.
I could, please, about my Brie, Jen's daughter.
Hmm.
The update is she had 5 surgeries 2 years later. She's off her crutches, out of her wheelchair, and doing well. So if
Amazing.
everybody heard the first part of that story, then I
Yes. Oh, I'm
want
so
them to
glad
know.
you shared that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want them to know that
So,
she's doing.
and she kept the blue tips the whole time.
She came in Saturday and had her own hair has grown back and had blue tips put in again on her
Oh,
own hair.
I love that. So
Isn't that great?
yeah,
It's
she's on the
true.
other side. Oh, that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's really, really cool. I'll have to, when I saw Jen last, she shared with me, that Brie was doing better and was on the other side of things. And that's amazing. And, I'm sure being in the environment that you guys have there of just we'll be all right. Whatever happens, you have such an amazing support there that you give families, and I'm grateful that you shared some of the story with us. And I am hoping that people heard this and that you are inspired in big and small ways that you can give back. I will not be donating my hair because it's over processed and nobody wants this hair that you straighten like crazy. Well, people probably do, but no one wants my hair. Um, but I will continue to do things in whatever way I can for you. And I hope that that sharing today just connects you with more of the folks that need to reach out with you to you, because it's like a small thing that's a huge thing that you are doing with providing the services to kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you for being a mentor and a wasteler.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, this was It's Not Just a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you on another Tuesday.